start. Welcome to a new episode of Business Meets Life. And today we have amazing Dr. Kevin Liang with us. He is from China, but we're meeting in Bali. Dear Kevin, thank you so much for making time.
My pleasure.
Now tell us a little bit more on how did you get into NLP and what's your story?
Right, that recalls me something just happened to me early day. So I'm a psychologist. After I studied a lot of the theories and frames in psychology, one day I found it's not so useful and practical.
Okay.
When I studied in the UK, my friends recommended something like NLP to me.
Mm-hmm.
Well, at that time, I was curious to know whether and how it can help me. So that's why I stepped into the training room of NLP. And I found it's really useful. It's amazing. It's changed my life and also did a lot of benefits to my career and business.
Wow, that's exciting. You're definitely a global citizen, as I can see. I know you've been trained by, I think, John Grinder in Portugal, right?
Yeah, Portugal and Russia.
Yeah.
Spain.
Now, let's talk a little bit about hypnosis and NLP, because I think a lot of people actually only know hypnosis from TV and they might have a completely different understanding of it, like I used to have it. Can you tell us a bit more about what exactly is NLP or hypnosis?
Mm-hmm. I think your question represents a lot of people's question. Mm-hmm. Some people that think hypnosis is simply to make you sleep, or just like a phone, and you will do exactly as instructed. That's partly true, but not the intention to hypnotize people. Mm-hmm. There are three resources for NLP, i.e. Fritz Perls, Virginia Satir, and Milton Erickson. Mm-hmm. So they have different factions in NLP. Mm-hmm. Hypnosis is simply to create a climate where people can learn faster. Mm-hmm. We believe that in NLP is simply change work. Mm-hmm. For all of the people change towards a positive way. While NLP enabled us with a lot of different and useful techniques, and hypnosis is to make that happen. So another name for hypnosis is trance. So let's use a new word, a created word, transferable.
Yeah.
Sedate. So that's what hypnosis exactly does.
Mm-hmm. Being Kevin's student, I really have to say it's amazing to learn from him. And would you mind sharing with us a little bit on how specifically you went into this? Because in China, as I also lived there, I know that mental health topics we actually don't really talk about.
Right.
People don't have the courage, they're afraid to lose face, or maybe other reasons. Mm-hmm. Now, would you mind sharing a bit of your own story into that?
Well, that's true. We're a developing country. It's growing. A lot of people would rather just cover it, so would rather not disclose. I have some problem, but it's really common to people.
Yeah.
It happened to me, to anybody. So first of all, it's very important to build trust with your client. So, here when we talk about NLP, I'm a coach instead of being a psychological counselor or clinical psychologist. I think I prefer more about the former because it shows more respect to my client. It doesn't mean that, okay, I went wrong, I need to be fixed. So in NLP, we just established a new atmosphere and environment for the client simply to grow, to learn. So that's easier for them to accept and find a very good stuff. But about 60-70% of my clients is, really people with a certain psychological disorders, and the rest of them actually is quite general, including a lot of business persons, entrepreneurs who are seeking to become more successful in their business. And some is about health management, some about relationships, manage, etc. So it's quite diversified. One word, it's important to build trust and confidence with your clients.
Yeah. Now, you're always teaching us in your training that it is important that first we try on the techniques on ourselves. Yeah. Like, for example, first we have to make sure that instead of just preaching, yes, you can make more money, that you show it and do it yourself. Now, can you give us a couple of examples of what have you worked on yourself back in the past and used your NLP, hypnosis, whatever techniques, and have grown and overcome that so that people can really feel the confidence, yes, he can help me with this as well?
Right. I really love the first part of your question. It's just like you can never consult a priest or a pope about marriage because they've never been there.
Well said.
Yeah, that's right. So in my early days, back like 15 years before, I was not so confident. I was a bit shy of a lot of people or my clients. When the first time I speak in front of like 80 audience, quite international, I told myself, oh my Lady Gaga, what am I going to do? What am I going to talk about? So I started to use one technique in NLP called Circle of Excellence. It really happened. It makes me different, the state. And later on, I found another technique or frame quite useful, namely as if, acting as if. So it means you don't have a certain experience about certain things, which makes you don't believe it's going to happen. And you don't have certain resources. You just pretend you have. And so this is a very useful technique in both NLP and hypnosis. There are, of course, a lot more, I think hundreds of useful techniques which can enable you, just as, enable you with a pair of wings so that you can fly.
I mean, many of us, we have these moments where we are low on self-confidence. For example, it's very common. How long did it take you to actually change that from not being confident to more confident? How much time did you have to invest in coaching or NLP or hypnosis?
Yeah, it takes much longer time initially. Probably when I discovered I'm different, I'm more confident, that's after 1 week or 3 weeks.
1 week or 3 weeks? Doesn't sound that long,
that's
actually.
So fast. That's why NLP is so popular in the world. And now probably just 1 second, completely change you.
If you feel comfortable and that's okay for you, I'd like to go a bit deeper into your personal experience with depression, because I actually think that you are a role model, not just from, Kevin is one of the #1 people in that field around the world, but especially for us living in China, that's amazing. So do you feel comfortable to share a bit more about your personal experience with depression from your own example?
Sure. Actually, it's my goal to let more people know and understand people with depression. Just to understand them, give them support. And also let people know everybody, it's possible to be in that scenario, in that situation during our whole life. So that happened to me after 2008, when the ground earthquake happened in China, in Wenchuan.
So you just said you had depression.
Yeah, I had depression. So what a lot happened, I saw bodies of dead children, hundreds of them. I saw tall buildings, newly built, and they have to be just ruined and rebuilt because of constructor's damage.
Oh, you were there?
I was there in 2008. I think 5 days later, after the earthquake, I saw a lot of different things, which I was not ready. Probably I was never ready during my life. There are too much to me, but I didn't realize. That after my return back home, something we call PTSD. Well, that's resulted in my depression. I started to feel bad.
What does PTSD stand for?
Post-traumatic stress disorder.
Okay.
It's kind of a mental disorder, actually. Well, that's associated with my personality again. And that make me realize that there are a lot I can improve and I have to improve. So the problem is I know all the tricks. So whoever wants to help me and whatever they're going to see, I know what he or she is going to see because I trained most of them as their tutors or teachers. Well, that's a real, thing I have to overcome by myself. So I have to take a second consideration. Well, hang on. Did you really trust what you taught to others? How would you like all the tricks or techniques or theories benefit yourself after some while? And hopefully, I gone through everything. When I was back to life, I think I'm a new version of me. I'm a rebuilt guy. So I would say thank you to the depression and the experience that I've been through. So that made me much more stronger, generous, and more confident. And I cherish everything in my life. So everything, it's just a gift for you. Erickson once said, pain including diseases, mental diseases, actually is only unfinished learning. So it's my job to help people to finish what they're gonna learn.
And I have learned from you, Adrian and Chris, that depression actually is not a state. It's like a change. It's like changing somehow.
That's right.
So how long did it, first of all, thank you so much for sharing this. It takes a lot of confidence to publicly speak about it. Like, how long do you think it took you to get out of the depression or the PTSD? Yeah.
Right. What really depends on how you understand get out depression. So it's quite, well, it just to make it simple, to get rid of most of the symptoms, something like 2 months. 2 months.
I know people, they have it for years, decades.
Or the whole life.
Yeah.
People. But that's not all to finish depression. The second step is going to help your clients to recover most of the social function. For example, going back to study, work, relationship, things like that, rebuild your confidence. And the third part, probably not the last part, is to make your personality, that in psychology, to improve your personality. By NLP, just to make yourself in congruency. Yeah, it takes time.
Thank you. So what would be your message for people out there who are listening right now, whether they have depression or a lack of confidence, it doesn't even matter. What do they need to know or do? What would be your advice?
Right, so first of all, it's part of you. Make friends of it until he or she is happy. She say goodbye to you. So don't struggle with it. There are a lot of conflicts from inside. When I was said, I hate you, I'm gonna suppress you. You have to die before I actually can move my life on. The other voice said, no, I'm still here. And there's no way you can get rid of them, of me. So it's a lot of conflicts. That's why people look that way with depression. So first of all, accept it. Recognize all the symptoms and accept it. This is the first thing. Second thing, talk to somebody. It's really important. So we are social animals, like human beings. Talk to anybody that you trust. You believe that will give you resources. I talk to your parents, your partners, or a professional practitioner, whether NLP practitioner or psychological counselor. And the third, believe there's always going to be a way. There's always a way. Sometimes for those people who's in the deepest valley, they look up. If you see a tiny light, stick to it. So that's act as if you haven't seen it happen, but you believe it will happen one day. So that little hope, that little light will guide you through the bad times. And you will be there, you will be out.
Wow. Thank you so much. Now let's go here for the business practitioners. Kevin, do you have some advice for us? Like, I mean, everybody wants to be more successful, make more money, increase their sales, or improve the leadership skills. Do you have some easy hands-on tips or stories on how we can actually use NLP in our everyday life to become richer and more successful?
Right. So my first suggestion would be, get rid of such kind of dreams. Rome is not built within one day.
Yes.
Yeah. It's
patience.
Yeah. You're going to sharpen yourself. You're going to make very well preparation for that. So Adrian trained you about how to set up a very good, well-formed opticon. That's a smart principle, yeah? And you can name a lot of different things. But anyway, there are some protocols that you can follow, which make you very successful. First one.
You're writing.
Good. To make a well-formed opticon, which means it's based on visual, auditory, and kinesthetic.
Yes. Well-formed outcome. I know many of you learned SMART goals, but here, visual, auditory, and kinesthetic, right?
Exactly.
Feeling.
Yeah. So that means before you actually become a billionaire, if your aim is to become a billionaire, you're going to experience what a billionaire looks like, sounds like, and feels like. So that's simply to create a resource on your unconscious, so that your unconscious can mobilize all your resources to achieve that. So that's the first thing. And the second thing, change your state. I saw a lot of people that said, I will be successful. I will have a lot of money. I will, but it's not in the wrong state.
Yeah.
So Granger once said there are three important factors in achieving your goals successfully, which are sedate, and sedate. So state is the most important thing.
So instead of being now here in the feeling unsuccessful state, or that I'm a loser or not confident, it's more about the present moment. I would change my state and, hey, I'm a successful person.
Yeah. I'm different. I'm ready. I'm excited about that.
I'm excited. Okay.
Yeah. If you watch some movies, so in ancient time, before, and after they start, before the battle, the commander always said, hi, soldiers, it's time. It's just change the state. And you're going to change your own state and maintain it, not simply for 1 day or 1 week. So state. And the third. And
we did this in just a couple of minutes. We actually trained ourselves on that and changed our state.
Change the states.
That's so powerful.
Yeah, that's part of our aims here at NLP program. And the third part is you're going to believe there are more than one options or choices to make it happen. So you always have 3 better choices to do one same thing.
Okay, so I know your students are actually waiting, because he's going to teach us how to use hard math also. 2 last quick questions. Number 1, do you have some advice for parenting?
Yeah.
Because I have met your wonderful daughter, Alina, and I have to say you did a very good job on her.
Thank you. I hope she's in the same.
Yeah, any tips for parents out there?
Right. Actually, only one thing. Don't try to make your kid as you desire. Just respect the natural way and make him or her to be her or himself. That's the most important. Don't make him or her an artificial kid. Make him or her a natural kid, so that he or she enjoy his or her whole life. And he or she may tend to enjoy better relationship and tend to have a much, much better life.
And last but not least, from all your experience, from having learned from the world's best practitioners, and what would have been like the advice you wish you had gotten earlier?
About what?
About anything. It could be business, it could be life, how to live a happy, successful life, any kind of advice you feel like you really want to share with us.
Well, you're going to see everybody's different. Everybody is unique. And as an NLP coach and a psychologist, we see the uniqueness of everybody and we respect that. So set up your own goal, your own dream about your life. Do not envy the guy next door to you because you're not him. Do not envy anybody. Be yourself and discover whatever you deem to do in your whole life and stick to it. Don't give up easy.
Wow. I love your message. Thank you so much for making time and shortening your lunchtime to speak with us. Thanks that I can learn from you and for the impact that you're making in this world. Guys, follow him on social media. And also, if you're looking to become an NLP practitioner or a hypnotherapist or anything else, you know who to contact.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.